He'll be able to identify who did it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more, Ryan?
Yeah, and usually it's Dad, honestly.
At 11, I got my Uncle Dan coming in at 11:30 with his big old truck.
Dad will talk a little bit more about
I'm wound up.
Oh wait,
Football's back.
oh! Iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
And
look what I did. 3, 2, 1. Guys, welcome back to the Good morning and welcome to the MacCast. We're back in studio today, and you might notice our special guest Danielle McClellan has joined us this morning. As always, I'm joined with my dad Dan McClellan and my brother Ryan McClellan, and I'm Jason McClellan. Danielle is joining us in studio today as opposed to video segments, so we're very blessed to have her along. The last time we saw you guys, we were in Dad's man cave. In the basement.
we were in the basement.
And we were getting ready to watch the Buckeyes playing the national championship game against Notre Dame. I think we were all excited, and I don't think anybody was let down either. I think it was a pretty great show. So I think it'd be a good opportunity to just dive right into that and get your fellows' thoughts on it.
Real quick, if you go back and watch that video, I predicted a 10-point win. What did they win by?
10 points.
11.
Oh.
It was an 11-point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
34,
But it was I was right on with the separation.
Yeah, that was good, man. I should probably bet a little bit more on it.
And but that's just the way I saw it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I did say 2 scores too, so.
Yeah, you did say 2 scores.
But I also thought they'd only score 17, which is pretty close.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what stuck out to you the most?
If Luka doesn't fumble.
Well, that would have ruined my prediction because I think I had like 31-17 or something, which was close.
Well, I think that we score on that drive. And I think that adds to the total, which gets you closer to the 17-point difference.
I mean, what stuck out to me was how dominant they were scoring the first 4 possessions.
Yeah.
I mean, they came out and...
They did it against Tennessee.
Yep.
And they did it against Oregon.
Yep.
And then they turned around and did it against Notre Dame.
Yep.
Now, they struggled a little bit with Texas, and they struggled a little bit with who was the other team they struggled with?
It was Notre Dame,
Notre
Texas. Yeah. And I think it comes down to Jimmy's and Joe's. I think we had better Joe's than Jimmy's in the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Oregon, I think we had a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. Texas, I think it was Joe's versus Joe's. I think Texas is a dominant team. I think they deserve to be in the playoffs. They showed it, obviously, making it that far. And then Notre Dame, I think we just had that one goal left. You know, Ryan Day preached about it all year long, and he prepared himself. And I think I've seen it. If you look at Will Howard, the way he processed in the playoffs, he was unbelievable. He was 82 for 109. He had 8 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. He was very poised, and I think they said that he was had the highest completion percentage. Is that right in the playoffs? On all the quarters?
I think I saw something along those lines. It was
He went in the national championship game alone. He went 13 for 13 without it.
Yeah, I think it was some kind of record
right off the bat.
Yeah.
So your point is very, very well made. First off, though, do you guys really? It kind of highlights the fact that the players play and the coaches coach. They were ready to hang Ryan Day immediately after the Michigan game. Understandable. Mm-hmm. But the players still have to play.
Yep.
So once they came together after that team meeting and they aired out all their issues, and then they decided to just take care of each other, they became a tighter family, and they went out and got the job done because of it. And they played like they were coached. So I hope people realize that players still have to play.
Absolutely.
They have to execute on the field. So that was a big point. My highlight, are you done?
No, the only one I had was how impressive Jenkins was in the whole playoffs.
Oh, I thought.
He had 7 touchdowns. But get this, he only had 255 yards in 4 games. That just shows you how explosive that offense was.
Yeah.
And again, back to what you said, they had prepared all season long with the body. They didn't allow these players to get overused, so they split carries. Okay, so they were a fresher team coming into the playoffs than what all the other teams were. Ryan Day, for the people that don't believe in him, they decided to go to a no huddle system, a huddle where they were using no huddle. They'd look over the sideline, get their play called, and run it.
Yeah.
They went to a huddle system so that they could slow the pace of the game down, eat up more clock,
Right.
less plays. You don't run as many plays, less wear and tear on the players. That was just one little thing they did.
Yeah, and then how many times did we talk about how slowly they started? Remember? We were like during the regular season, we were like, man, they are a slow starting team. It could be that they were just on the break and just letting
That's
off a little
exactly
bit.
what it was.
Yeah.
But
I also think to the point of the double running backs and the sharing of carries, especially with Henderson coming back, I think that just goes and speaks more volumes for the type of characters that we have on the team. So we have Jimmys and Joes that make plays, but at the same time, the characters on the team have, and I think it really benefited Ohio State when they faced the adversity, because this wasn't anything new. It's not like they started turning to Jesus after they lost to Michigan. We were talking about them baptizing people before the season.
Yeah, we were.
So I think Ohio State's journey this past year, their story that is now finished, is one that we can use in our daily lives as examples when we face adversity. This is probably why Herbstreit got so choked up as well, because he's facing some adversities with his wife. It came out and different things like that. But sometimes you don't win the games that you're supposed to win in life, and that just happens. How you react and how you respond is really what it's all about. And I saw Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, and the rest of the Ohio State team, really, instead of making excuses, instead of blaming, they just owned it and moved on. And then they redeemed themselves by how they were able to overcome that adversity, and then the way they played together on the field.
I think they had a chip on their shoulder. They mentioned it. I was watching a short or something on YouTube, and they mentioned the fact that when the team came out of the tunnel on the Tennessee game, and they saw so much orange in the stadium that they're like, okay, this is different, and our fans turned on us. We're actually fighting against the whole world. We don't even have any fans anymore. That's the way they felt. And they put it on their shoulder, and that's what happened.
Might even put it on some T-shirts too. I think it was Ohio against the world.
Ohio against the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, the unnecessary turn on Ryan Day and the team for not winning the Michigan game was absolutely unwarranted.
Yeah.
And I hope a lot of you will apologize.
Sure. Well,
to Ryan and the team.
You're eating your humble pie right now. I also think it doesn't just stop with the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry loss. I think sports on a whole, fans on a whole, have an unrealistic expectation. It's not Madden out there. You're not going to guarantee wins all the time. This is a competitive game, and for a reason. And if you're a football fan, you want that. You don't. I want to not know, who's going to win the game. I'd like to see an interesting competitive game, not when it's already pre-decided.
Predetermined.
Yeah, so...
Just one quick comment I wanted to make on that before I forget.
Yeah.
Is society as a whole has radical fringes.
Mm-hmm.
And the radical fringe, like Ryan, has got a voice, and they're very loud. So a small contingency of people are the ones that put for sale signs in his yard.
Yeah.
That's a radical fringe, but death threats on his children. I'm just kidding, Ryan. I was just joking. The radical fringe is smaller than what people try to make it out to.
Yeah.
But that's what.
I don't even know if you knew it. Did you see that his wife came out and said that she's ready for a vacation because she's had so many emotions built up because of the whole threat to family, the whole experience during the playoffs. Now that he finally won, she's like, I can finally take a breath. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, it definitely, without a doubt, it affects the whole family.
Think of this.
But that just
can you be as reserved as Ryan Day was about that situation by itself?
Mm-hmm.
How reserved was he?
I think
I don't know how I would. I know how I would handle it if you attack my kids.
Yeah, sure.
I'm coming out publicly and I'm coming out swinging.
And what was that? Joe Burrow recently got some stuff going on.
He got robbed.
Yeah, and so he came out and said, "Hey, he got extra security, extra cameras. He's not messing around." So there are people that I think that Ryan Day embodied what I wanted to see in a leader at Ohio State by the way he handled it.
Yeah.
Did you notice it? I mean, did it like Ryan Day was really reserved about this?
I mean,
What would you do if they attacked your
Yeah.
daughters?
Yeah.
What would you do?
you know, I'd be on emotions instead of business 1st.
Mhm.
And Ryan Day knew the only way to save his family was put business first, and he did that. If you look at the way Ryan Day after the Michigan loss, there was a lot of controversy with why did he sit there on the field and not talk to his players after that big emotional loss. He kind of sat there, took it all in, and he's like, okay, this is a business. I've got to take this loss and turn it into something to keep my job, to keep my family safe. I've got one goal left to reach. He knew it, I think, during that time. If you look at his personality, you look at the way he just faces every game. He's an emotional guy. You see him on the sidelines, he's running, cheering, happy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a super pumped up guy. But he's very
Sort of like us.
But he's very calm when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Professionalism.
I think he
Very
does a great
controlled.
job of being professionalism, and I mean,
Yeah.
I think he did a great job throughout the whole play.
And there's a famous poster out there. There's a big giant lion and all these little sheep, and it says the lion does not bother himself with the opinions of the sheep. So sometimes, especially when you're coaching, like the man in the arena, Tom Brady always talks about, sometimes it doesn't really matter what the outside noise is because they're not connected to it. Now, when they do cross
Exactly.
that, yeah, so you just kind of block that stuff out anyways. And then also, I think when you're put in that leadership role, there's some expectations on how you handle that stuff and the professionalism that it takes. I think, unfortunately, the professionalism sometimes is not the most immediate thing we might think about, but I think those great leaders
It's not me.
rise to the top because they can. And so there's a reason Ryan Day's the head coach of Ohio State
Yeah.
and not Dad or myself.
I come out swinging. I'm sorry, but he
Sure.
handled it really well.
He did, and I think that
Yeah.
embodies the leadership. It's a shame that we live in a society that takes it that far, but I mean, I think that's the same
I would have
time.
liked to have been, no pun intended, the girls. I'd like to have been a mouse in the corner of that room when they had that meeting after the Michigan loss.
Yeah.
What was said, not just the team meeting. I can figure out what was said in there, but what was the meeting with Ryan Day like? Did he come out and say, "Look, guys, I'm probably gonna get fired after all this. I'm probably gonna. My family's been threatened. I'm gonna have to move and find another job somewhere else, and pick my family up, take them out of schools that they're used to. We've been, I could kind of
Yeah.
imagine that kind of a story being related to his players, and the players are like, "Damn, I never thought about all that. This should have never happened." But like you said on expectations, when you accept the Ohio State job, from here on out, even people are going to realize this is a high pressure job.
Oh yeah.
Number one, Ohio State is a program, like I was pointing out to Patty this morning, even. We don't go 500. We don't lose but a game or two, if any, every year.
Yeah, so the standard's already set.
The standard has been set
Yeah,
that you come in this program, you will win.
excellent.
And the most important game of all to us fans is the Michigan game, correct?
What history shows, it has been.
Yes.
Now with the extended playoffs, because the reason why it used to be such an important game is because yes, it was a rivalry between Ohio State and the team up north and hate each other. And if you remember how many times it used to be 1 versus 2, 2 versus 1. Now I don't think that even matters anymore.
No, you're right.
I think Ryan Day is going to take it into this is a business now.
Yeah,
He's I think he was down as one of the best coaches at Ohio State now. And he's one that he's got to be up there on the list. I know Nick Saban's way above every college football coach out there. It shows for it. But there's a thing that Saban did really well. There's a thing that Urban Meyer did really well. There's a thing that Clemson's and Sweeney does. They relate to their players.
Yeah.
He knew that these seniors came back for him, for that team, and you can see the way they played for him. It was more than just a business to him in that aspect. He did such a great job, I thought, of taking the team as a business, keeping the social media out of there,
Mm-hmm.
keeping the face really strong. but I feel like he was more about the brotherhood.
Mhm.
Even though he's a coach, but he was able to relate to his players. And
He knows what that means.
he knows what that means. And I think that alone sets Ryan Day apart from a lot of the coaches in today's college football. I think he's one of the top guys. You got to think Kirby Smart is a smart kid, smart coach and everything, what he's done for all the championships. But I think Ryan Day is starting to separate himself in a lot of those other packs.
You know
Now
what
that he's
list?
won.
You know what list he falls on as far as winning the national championship at Ohio State? Jim Brown, Woody Hayes, Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, and now Ryan Day. 6 coaches in the whole entire history of Ohio State has won the national championship, and Ryan Day is one of them.
Yep.
People better. We should be celebrating Ryan Day, not having to lift him back up after being demolished because of a loss to Michigan that absolutely did not mean anything anymore.
And again, though, that gives us the viewers. Who says we demolished? I mean, yes,
we didn't. The radical fringe did.
Sure. So the lunatic fringe.
Yes. Isn't that what did Herbie say?
It was a lunatic fringe, and it made me think of that song from Vision Quest, because that's that song that wrestler gets ready for right before he goes on the stage. It's like the lunatic fringe. Anyhow,
see,
Hey, great movie, by the way.
I left shout out
Vision Quest.
Vision Quest. I left an impression on my sons with that movie.
It's a great movie, overcoming adversity and showing.
It's almost as great as Rocky, I'd say.
Yeah.
Almost. I say Rocky's just because of the actor in it, probably, and his story, and it's a sequel. I think Vision Quest he had a determination to beat the #1 kid in the area, to lose all that weight.
The whole storyline.
He kept that as his vision.
Yeah.
He had one big goal and he did everything.
Here's the thing.
Have you ever seen it, Danielle?
What?
Vision
The
Quest.
movie Vision Quest.
We literally watched it. There is so many lessons to be learned by that movie.
Yes.
But have an open mind. There is a stigma on wrestling. There's a lot of people that it's wrestling. I'm not going to watch it. You know what I mean by that?
Shout out Quaker Wrestling. I love wrestling.
There is a stigma about it. There's a contingency of people that don't want to watch 2 sweaty boys wrestling around.
It's a unique sport. It's more of an enclave of people than it is. There's a lot of mossy oak, man. There's a lot of camouflage at wrestling events, and I appreciate those wrestling people.
Yeah, they're a different crowd, like you said. Softball girls, different crowd.
Different crowd.
Stay open-minded. Please check it out.
Check out a high school wrestling.
It is worth the watch. To watch it, it's just
it's exciting. It's fun.
If you're a competitive type soul, watch it.
Yeah, and so the Buckeyes was awesome.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the Ohio State game? Besides having your favorite brother Ryan at the house.
My favorite part, I ought to say, is at the very end when they were celebrating as a team and getting to have Ryan Day,
a lot of positive emotions
going on. And what really stuck out to me too is a couple of the players said, praise God, because just the way they handled it was just
that's a great.
They weren't patting themselves on the back.
Yeah, not one person said I did this, or they were talking about their teammates. And I think that was really
teammates and who got them there, and that's
shout out to Ryan Day and Sawyer.
Okay, so let's transition. Okay, we got an exciting weekend of football ahead of us again.
Real quick,
Yeah.
before we go into the NFL,
Okay.
my favorite part of the game was the golf cart ride by Ryan Day.
Oh my goodness.
People.
Yeah.
That video went viral.
For
sure.
He almost had to have his leg amputated, and he got whiplash from Ryan Day. He was kind of hanging out the front side there, and he mentioned that he was so glad that his leg wasn't hanging over the side because it would have got pitched up against the wall.
Yeah.
But he came out and said, "I feel bad for her, the driver,
Yeah.
because really."
I heard she was a Michigan graduate.
Yeah, but they said that it happened. It started on the field. She had floored it and almost took out a couple people. So she had almost had an accident on the field, and then it continued back into the tunnel and then hit the wall.
She's probably got this boss be like, you got one job, you gotta get these guys here and gotta be there quickly on time.
Yeah.
But Ryan Day's like, you know what? I feel bad for her, but my favorite part of that accident was Will Howard's reaction to it. He didn't say anything about, his leg or his whiplash.
Yeah.
He immediately pointed to his player. And that just goes to show you there's a quality.
My favorite part about that video
Oh, that video?
is the drunk in there. Ryan Day, thank you! Ryan Day! And then they recognize, it's okay, Ryan! It's okay, we thank you, we love you! The whole time he's like, oh, it's alright!
I forgot totally about that, too.
Yeah, that was probably, I'm like, this guy in there, he is like, right? That woman was probably like, get away from that guy, and hit the gas.
What part was your favorite part of the game?
Well, I think getting together as a family was a really special part. I think that, I think it was a good idea. You said, hey, I want to make this a family thing, and Aunt Rita was there, and Uncle Ray, I think, was sick or something, but it was just cool to have, Aunt Rita, Uncle Greg, Danielle, and the family. We had tons of good food. Shrimp dip, and the sloppy Joe was good, and the pizza, man. Pizza from Bolivar Pizza.
Yeah.
If you're ever looking for a podcast sponsorship, we'll take it.
Bolivar Pizza. Yeah, no, the reason that I wanted it to be a family event is because that don't come along all the time.
That's true.
It's not guaranteed to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been our last chance to see one together as a family, and that's why I did. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part, probably the way Will Howard carried himself. When they won the championship, there's a viral video of him just taking it all in. He took this Ohio State season, not knowing what the brotherhood was, not knowing how Christian based this team was, not how close of a bonded they were. He took it all in, and I think he was a super humble guy through it all. He didn't let the haters bring him down. He didn't let the key interceptions that he threw. He was a type
when he fell down.
He
Yeah,
was a class act.
That I would have loved to have all 4 years.
That's what you're saying. He's a class act. That he showed it all year long.
And you wish we had him longer.
Unique qualities about himself. Just one more thing before we
show you
change.
how competitive it is at Ohio State, because you had other guys who were in the playoffs that actually, used to play for Ohio State.
Before we move on, I got one more comment, and I'm done about Ohio State National Championship game. The fact that Will Howard separated himself that particular game, he showed that he is a national champion. He was able to conduct the team. You can see how the team surrounds him and supports him and listens to him. He's a big-time leader.
Yep.
But I listened to Daniel Jeremiah yesterday because Pat McAfee, shout out to you. You were kind of really upset about Will Howard being projected as a fourth rounder currently. You're very upset about that and he even called out Daniel Jeremiah live on the show about it, because Daniel Jeremiah is one of these guys that set the draft value of players. Mm-hmm. And so Daniel Jeremiah said this: I watched 3 games, but they were all at the front end of the season. First, to do my evaluations. So I did the Oregon game, he did the Nebraska game, and another game. I can't remember the third one. But there were 3 teams that Ohio State kind of struggled with a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not that they didn't win and pull away, but they struggled with. They didn't play as well.
Indiana would have been one of them.
And I'm thinking to myself, what's the difference between the first half of the season and the second half of the season in Will Howard's confidence in his play? People forget he played for Kansas State last season.
Yep.
Not a year ago he was playing for Kansas State. He's got to learn the system. He has to become comfortable with the teammates around him. This stuff takes time. People forget he hasn't been there for 4 years. He's only been there for a few months. This kid came in a few months, won a national championship.
Yeah.
Or in a year.
And I think Pat McAfee is totally right that he's way underrated on the draft where he should be. And I'm going to call it out now. I think that whoever picks him, he's going to be a big impact in the NFL.
You think he's getting NFL?
I think he's an NFL caliber. McAfee is a brilliant, smart guy. He knows where some of these
but a big doofus.
Yeah.
He sees some of his passes. He points it out all the time. These are NFL caliber throws that he's making. He puts it right in the bread box, right where the players can catch it. Yes, he's throwing to the NFL players.
That ball he dropped into Jeremiah Smith at the end of the game.
But what about the one where he threw it to Henderson? Henderson and the DB.
Drops it right
It was a
to the
50-50. It was right in between of them.
Throws it on.
Oh, yeah.
How hard of a pass is to throw it in between?
You're right. In such a
In a
small
small
window.
window.
Yeah, he can.
He's got the arm.
He's got the tangibles. He's got the skill set. It's when you get to the NFL, the difference between a good quarterback and not so like an average quarterback is your decision making. Okay, Will Howard has shown through the hardest part of the season or the most important playoff run in the history, I might add, in the history of college football, they had the heart. Even though this is the first 12 team playoff,
Yeah.
they had the hardest way to get there.
Sure.
They won they beat 5 top 5 teams during the season and in the playoffs to get there. No one has ever had to do that before. So this is all uncharted territory.
I think the only I guess the reasoning I would understand why he's ranked a little lower is because I think I see an NFL transitioning to a dual threat quarterback style. I see teams that have a lot more success, like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jaden Daniels. So all 4 quarterbacks that are in the divisional playoffs, divisional playoffs this weekend are all a dual threat. So which gives you a little threat. That's the only
Drawback?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That if I'm thinking NFL quarterbacks, maybe that's why he's a little lower. I don't see him going all the way in the 4th round. I don't
You
know
might agree with me on
if that's
this, Brian.
justified, but
I understand your dual threat thing, and I thought about that very issue. And then I set it aside once I realized that they didn't want him to run during the regular season. They didn't call his number during the regular season. They gave him the RPOs and told him 9 times out of 10, you hand it to the back.
yeah, I don't even think they had to tell him that. I think if you got a
They
back,
saved him.
if you got Henderson
Right.
and Judge's back here, I'm gonna
Why not hand it off?
Right.
So,
I'm
but
gonna make the play. But
when did he use his legs the most?
technically, if you're in an RPO, you want him to run if that edge rusher is coming down.
And he did that
and
occasionally.
he's got to. But
He
we
did
also
that.
seen, and when we've seen him run, he's
What did he do in the playoffs? The whole entire playoffs, he used his legs more, didn't he?
Sure.
Because there was no tomorrow.
Do you think is
Now, this is
a
what-
Jaden Daniels or a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen?
We don't know because we never got to see it.
Well, when he had a wide open run, when he tripped, it is not a good look for.
It's not a good look.
Okay, I'll leave you with this. How close do you think Josh Allen and Will Howard's 40-yard dash is?
Oh, I don't know.
It's within point.
So
point 10.
So he's got a fast 40 time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
just like
He
Josh
just
Allen.
needs to work on
It's not-
balance a little
a
bit.
little bit more bounce.
Yeah,
He's just
I
like
think
Josh
it's there. It's just the Buckeyes chose not to get him hurt.
What's the size of comparison between Josh Allen and?
Well, I can tell you this: Will Howard 6'4",
Josh Allen's
240 pounds.
Josh Allen's what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah, so they're about the same size too.
They're the exact. I'm telling you, Howard is a hybrid of Josh Allen. Josh Allen came from where? Is it North Dakota State? South Dakota State?
I challenge you to do this.
The talent level that he faced compared to what Will Howard just did against NFL caliber
This
guys.
is true. And
Look
the
up
types
the-
of defenses that the two went up against, Will Howard absolutely
Yeah.
high caliber. I mean, I'm not arguing.
Look up
I
the
just-
stats of Will Howard compared to the Heisman Trophy candidates for the winner.
Josh Allen's 6'5", by the way, 237.
230.
So he's 3 pounds lighter, which might help Will Howard with
in
his
short.
balance.
And Josh Allen went to Wyoming.
Wyoming,
Still,
and
he's not seeing
he's not seeing the quality of talent that Will Howard did.
the. Josh Allen had a 56% completion rate in college. Will Howard 65%.
My only argument.
Now Josh Allen had more yards and touchdowns. He had 44 touchdowns. Howard had 24.
How many years was he in Utah system? In Utah.
Wyoming.
How many years was he there?
Who? Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Probably about 4, right?
Yeah, probably.
How long was Will Howard at Ohio State?
I see what you're saying.
If you would have had Will Howard for 4 years, what would he have been? Oh my goodness!
My argument coming out of, I think Will Howard should be drafted higher
I think
than
he's a
Josh
first
Allen.
rounder, top 5.
Than Josh Allen was because of the way Will Howard, his processing I think was quicker than what Wyoming's was. Wyoming, when Josh Allen was at Wyoming, the defenses he's faced weren't rushing him within 3-4 seconds like with Will Howard was against Texas. The way Will Howard was able to process the different openings, the different receivers, getting out quickly, I I think was at a higher rate than what Josh Allen was coming out of college.
Welcome back to the Lunatic Fringe.
That's our new name of the podcast.
Yes,
Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah, it's a loony something in here, that's for sure. But we're ready to bring in some discussion about the upcoming divisional championships. So I think we'll dive into the upcoming matchup between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of them are exciting seasons this year. They've had exciting seasons, exciting players on both sides of the ball. Both quarterbacks are dual threat, dynamic type guys. So what are you looking forward to? What are you seeing in this game? Who comes out on top?
I mean, is the Cinderella story going to continue? Is Jaden Daniels the savior for the Commanders?
It's never been done before.
Or is Saquon Barkley the answer for the Eagles to finally get into the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts and as many times as they've been in this position in the NFC Championship game?
Well, they were just at the Super Bowl, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, that's true.
And then they won on the Philly special that year. So, I mean, they are
The Philly special.
Yeah, they are not...
And the tush push.
Yeah.
Is that the tush push?
Well, it's been 6 years since they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're no stranger to this depth of the playoffs and the Super Bowl. They're used to being there.
But 6 years in the NFL, it's probably a different makeup of a team. That's for sure. They don't have the same
definitely.
guys. Yeah, 6 years is big.
Although the center that replaced Kelsey has really done really well.
And Commanders, they've done well on the road this year too. They're 7-3 on the road.
I think this is my opinion. I don't know what yours is, but I think this is the end. For my opinion, I'm calling it right now. Washington goes down in a close game, but I think the inexperience of a rookie quarterback, it's going to show up here because it's everything's on the line. There's a lot of pressure, and I think that even though I don't think Sirianni is the most intelligent coach in the NFL, but yet I think he's a very good coach in the NFL. If you get my meaning.
Sure.
I think he's very capable of coaching them to a win today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I think that Philadelphia gets the win. That's my opinion.
I agree too. I think Philadelphia needs it more than Washington. I think Washington goes into this game. They're happy to be there. They're glad they made it that far, and the future is bright. And so they can continue to grow and develop Jaden Daniels. I think Philadelphia is win or bust. They got to make something happen.
You think that window is closing?
Well, I don't know. I just to keep continued success season after season after season is very hard to do in the NFL, especially negotiating all the different contracts that are coming up and stuff like that. I think the adversity the NFL organizations face and that aspect makes it harder to continue to show up.
So you're saying Kansas City is more of an enigma and not a normality in the NFL, a winning program like they've set?
Yes, I do. I think that there's a lot of unselfish NFL players that are on the Kansas City.
Think Kansas City's like a sit-alone thing?
I think they've restructured enough contracts to keep those on, but they've also lost guys. Tyreek Hill comes out. Kareem Hunt, he came back, so that's good. But they don't. Some of those guys they were able to eliminate and still find ways to win.
They're a prime example of playing as a team. I think they play well together as a team. I think Andy Reid. We're getting off on the wrong game. I'm sorry. Let's get back to the Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia. I got
Washington.
Philadelphia coming out on top. I would love to see the Washington Commanders win, and if they do, I'm going to be excited for them. But I also think Philly's got to win. And then Barkley's going to be
the difference
maker in that game. I think he is. Now, I did read somewhere, and you might have some stuff on this, that Washington's run defense is pretty good.
No, the exact opposite.
It's the opposite. Okay.
They're 29th against the rush.
Okay, so that's why.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So this is a rubber match. Okay.
Yeah.
Both teams have got their wins in the first round, second round.
The last game won by Washington is an important fact.
Correct.
They won the most recent matchup by 3.
Yeah.
In the first matchup, Philadelphia won by 8. They're again same kind of scenario as Will Howard and Jaden Daniels. You're new to the system. You just start. You came right out of college. You start same way with Will Howard. Coming from another team.
So you're saying the first time that Philadelphia and Washington played, The Eagles won by 8 points.
By 8 points.
And then they narrowed that down to 3 points the last time, and they won.
They
So,
reversed.
so technically 11.
11-point difference.
The Philadelphia game where they won by 8 points was early in the season. So
Yes.
you're saying that Jaden Daniels might have taken some.
He took some steps, progressed in the NFL, and learned what he needed to do, and boy, he's lighting it up.
What about where they played the game?
So both teams won.
He'll be able to identify who did it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more, Ryan?
Yeah, and usually it's Dad, honestly.
At 11, I got my Uncle Dan coming in at 11:30 with his big old truck.
Dad will talk a little bit more about
I'm wound up.
Oh, wait.
Football's back.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
Look what I did. 3, 2, 1. Guys, welcome back to the